Well, the hopes of getting into the Champions League and getting that big payday have been and gone. We fell at the second hurdle, which was the second leg tonight against Dynamo Kiev. Obviously, there's going to be one massive talking point, but before we get to that, let's just first of all reflect on both legs. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because ultimately, the tie was tight, and it was tight right up until that moment. But I don't know. For me, this squad is what 3, 4 games in. If you're lucky at the competitive season, there's players going down. It's weak. There's no great strength or depth. It's very concerning. We said actually at the tail end of the pre-season or right through the pre-season that this was going to be a struggle fest to watch, and ultimately we've been proven right, and we crash out of the Champions League qualifiers.
I mean, the big thing that over the two legs, to be honest, and it's something that we've had so far through the pre-season and stuff like that, is how weak we are. Going from middle to front, how weak we are up top in general, to be honest. Now, the thing is, as well, if you look at the kind of game Dessers had, I think up until obviously the latter stages of the game, I thought Dessers played pretty well. He was one
Yep.
of the better players. He got to sell a bit a lot. I think
It's true,
he
Andy, it's true, but he also
didn't
doesn't
score.
do what he's there to do. Do you know what I
Scored
mean?
goals, aye.
And this is what the fans simply won't put up with. They won't put up with Cyril played decent off the ball and he used his physicality. Cyril Dessers, the Rangers number 9, is there to score goals ultimately,
Mhm.
and goals change
Important
games, and
goals.
important goals and nights like tonight can make or break. You know what I mean? The
Mhm.
the, the financial burden that's placed on the club, and ultimately that game alone cost us something
Oh,
like £4 million, and the potential of even 10x in that.
yeah.
So I don't want to single out Cyril. Like you say, done some stuff right,
Mhm.
but still for me, always got to do more, and simply needs to do one thing for us, and it's score goals.
Yep, yep,
And that he
definitely.
failed at tonight.
And listen, I think as well, like if only in top, I say Cyril was one of the better players. At the same time, like I think Tav is just proving to us that he's miles off it at this level. The now, and the amount of times he was beat tonight was unbelievable. And top of that, I was surprised that Lawrence starting. Never mind getting the amount of game time that he got.
Yep.
I think again
But
the
that's
game
the
the game
thing.
was getting played round about him. We dig Scott right up for that all the time. Like and
Exactly.
that for me with Tom Lawrence in the park there was that kind of performance that we've been digging Scott right for. And listen, at the end of the day, like at this level, and that's come down to Clermont as well, because everybody in that stadium and everybody watching would probably have took Lawrence off. At the same time, in the subs at half time, it was expected that Hefty was going to come off as well. But obviously, Cherny come on, and on top of that, I mean, to add to the problems, I don't think Cherny looked great when he come on the park.
He didn't look great, but you've also got to be asking questions about why Cherny has not been started ultimately.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And again, this is one of the big reflections that I've seen when the starting lineups came out, and immediately after the match, it's like Clement does himself absolutely no favours,
No.
because I mean we've seen what Cherny's capable of, even in spells tonight. But in the Motherwell game, he scores a wonderful goal. He's looked decent when he's been on the park, and people were expecting Sherney to start on the right and Hefty on the left tonight. We got 50% of that, but people were confused and frustrated that this man's been brought in. And you would expect him to start in a night like this. This is the reason you're trying to bring these players in the
Hmm.
door.
Hmm.
You're bringing these players into the building, not to bring them on at half time, but surely to be featuring in the starting 11 and one of the biggest games that you're going to play the season
Yep.
ultimately, in terms of the financial prospects down the line.
Hmm. Oh, definitely. I mean, even I think that's been the kind of divide between fans and Clermont has been the two criticism fans have had is obviously the starting lineups and the substitutions as well. And I mean, we can. I'll just move on to the just as we're talking about subs, move on to the Jeffrey situation. That for me completely changed the game. Like, I mean, it's a red card. There's no doubt about it. Completely changed the game. I mean, the first yellow card for me soft, and I get that Jeffrey was nipping at people, but at the end of the day, like he was playing aggressively, and I like to see that. But
absolutely,
when you've got a referee in the park who's getting that the soft foul for the first yellow card, and then a second yellow for whatever that was. Apparently, you cannot win. Modern football either.
Some of the decisions that you see in modern football, but that one stands
it's one
head
of the worst.
and shoulders above some of the crazy soft fouls that I've seen to send someone off in a massive Champions League qualifying tie. 5 minutes into the second half, for winning what was simply a great header.
I
mean, the guy leaps so high,
wins a header.
The ball.
Obviously, his arms are going to be like. I mean, they were pretty much by his side. It was complete
utter nonsense, and it kills the tie. But Rangers as well, ultimately, could do more up to that point. So I know it's the turning point in the tie as well, right?
Yep.
But it can't be all that we focus on. I know it might have been different if Hefty stays on the park. It might not have been. But ultimately, Rangers are no good. They're not good enough. Do you know what I mean? They had plenty of chances last week to come away for the away tie, with an advantage, and they had the opportunity of the night to come out the firing traps ready to go, ready to really put it to Dynamo Kiev,
who are not a good team, by the way.
They're not great.
They're not great. Let's be honest.
You still go in 0-0 at half time and leave it. Look, my worst fear, I said this in the pre-match live stream, is that we would get to 70 minutes and it would still be 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still 0-0 at 70 minutes, but we're also down to 10 men, which obviously compounded that massively. Mm-hmm. But for me, we're all the shot on and off the park.
Again, we were
it's
going
a shambles,
back to,
really.
We were going back to that kind of old style. The crosses getting put into the box, and to be honest, like the crosses getting put into the box for me they were shocking. I couldn't even count one hand the amount of times we found a blue shirt.
It's very one-dimensional as well, mate.
It was very. We've seen obviously the chop backs, the lack of decision making up top, the hesitation. There's
the lack of
one
playing a
bit
pass
of cutting
that's
edge that front line.
A slightly riskier pass, but it's a forward pass. There was at times the night, and it's perhaps subtle because it's easy to miss it. It's easy not to notice it, because what happens is somebody has the ball in an advanced area of the pitch, and somebody's made a run, a decent, positive forward run, but it's a riskier pass than the back pass back to the defender or back to the man behind you, and far too many times for me, too many people on that park, and it's the same old story for Rangers, that they're opting to take the easy back pass, in case they make a mistake or in case they give the ball away. That's not the sort of mentality I want in my team. It's no nice to watch. You hear the disgruntled fans when you constantly, time and time again, opt to take that easier pass. It's a higher success rate. I mean, me and Andy could pass, 100% success rate if we're just going back the way with the ball. Do you know what I mean? But it's the sort of stuff, some fans, if you're not paying attention or paying particular attention to the game, you might miss. But sometimes people are making good positive runs, and it's just cowardice by some players to play the passes in.
McCausland had an amazing game that night, but again, when you come to your point, there was a couple of times where he made a pretty decent run down that channel. A couple of times playing that 1-2, and again that hesitation, that look, but your first looks backwards, you know what I mean? And there's a couple of times you could see McCausland getting really frustrated because he knew what he wanted to do, he knew what area he wanted to get into. 9 times out of 10 with that run, he would beat that whole midfielder or that fullback that was tracking him, and he just never got the supply. And to be honest, like the supply in terms of us in an attacking sense, the supply just lacks quality. The finishing is completely non-existent. The ability to hold up the ball, we've seen glimmers of it. Again, where you were thinking, oh, Dessers has got the ball here, he's doing quite well. Then a big poor touch. It's just that we're missing a massive cutting edge up top. We're
just missing massive quality all over the park
in general.
All over the park, we're lacking quality, and quite severely as well.
100%. The thing is, like, the objective before, when this transfer window started, was to get rid of the deadwood, get rid of the high earners, and bring some decent, ready to go first team starters. We're now out of the Champions League, which
it's a fucking shambles. I'll beat you to it. It is a shambles. What is going on at our club right now is a joke.
There's still no signs of any potential signings coming in. With Barron's about the highlight of the summer.
Well, without a doubt, and I mean, credit where credit's due. I mean, Barron is covering every inch, every blade of grass on that park. He still looks kind of raw at times, but can you blame him? He's doing his job and Lawrence's job at the same time. Do you know what I mean? And at least he's got the right mentality as well. You know, it's a massive thing, especially you're watching as a fan. There is nothing more frustrating than sort of watching your players just kind of roll over and accept defeat. And ultimately, you know, that's what we're used to here at Rangers. And I think that is the major problem. The major problem is when we have a first half like that where we play, you know, kind of acceptable, we're alright, we're 0-0, we're still in the game, it's been 50-50, because we're no shit, we think we're doing good, when let's be honest, we're no, again, very one-dimensional, like I was saying. There's no real flair, there's no real, you know, put it this way, whenever we were going the counter-attack, attack in general, I mean, I'm not sitting on the edge of my seat thinking, this could be the one time we score a goal, this could be the time. It's like, no, wait, how quickly can we get it wide and just, you know, curl a ball into the box,
exactly.
Which is fair enough. I mean, I'm not saying don't cross the ball in a game of football, but you've got to offer more than that as well.
At the end of the day, like, even though I've seen glimmers of some sort of play style, and I say glimmers quite loosely, but at the end of the day, like as you said, that we're not seeing football, we're not seeing edge of the seat football. Like, I can't remember the last time I even had a raised fucking heart rate during a Rangers game.
That wasn't induced by utter fucking rage.
Exactly. It's just, I just can't see. I mean, obviously we're relegated to another season Europa League football, which with the way the squad is just now, unless there's some,
which is fine for a quality level, but it's absolutely tragic for a financial point of view, and tragic. Also the fact that just that is not the most difficult, like, qualifying tie in the Champions League that you'll ever play.
It was a favourable draw, and absolutely any Rangers team in the past few years, I think, would have got through that. Maybe not comfortably, but would have got through that. Again, going through against Salzburg, which it would have been a tough game, but with the way we played and our mentality in Europe, we'd have got through that.
Do you know another thing as well that I want to mention that I don't know if you picked up on, but you probably did, like most of the fans out there picked up on. So when Hefty gets sent off, right, you hear an uptick in, like, the atmosphere round about Hampden, right? And I'm not putting any of this on the fans, but you see, you know, a kind of slight change in the next 5 minutes where, you know, Rangers actually, they start to look a wee bit different. They look like they've got a wee bit of, you know, something injected into them, maybe a bit of intensity, aggression, you know. But for me, too often, actually, Rangers are showing up for the first whistle and sort of letting teams have their way with them. You know, you can try and execute your game plan and we'll work around it. There's gone are the days where Rangers show up and say, no, we're here to fucking boss this game. Do you know what I mean? You're got to need to put up with us for this first 45 and this 90 minutes. It's more like Rangers are just sort of there to see what the other team does, figure them out, this and that. And even in the league against, lesser teams than Dynamo Kiev, Rangers, can show up and see what happens almost.
Well, the thing is, you've very rarely, domestically, in the league, very rarely do you see a team other than Celtic come to play Rangers and are able to execute their game plan, like what they're expected today, like their expected roles throughout the season. Very, very rarely. But I can guarantee this season that's not necessarily. I think teams are going to look at us and no matter who you are, go there for the win, go there to go for the jugular. And to be honest, it's, as I say, unless there's dramatic changes this transfer window in terms of some proper, a couple of decent first team ready to go signings, we're going to be in for a tough first half of the season.
See, we've lost every bit of fear factor that we once had, mate. I mean, who, for a fan's point of view, there's nobody in that team, and I've said it a number of times, maybe apart from Barn, that really fills me with a sense of hope and confidence, and he could dig deep. He's a bit of a baller. He's aggressive. He's fit. But if I'm in opposition showing up, I'm like, do you know what? It's probably going to be a tough day, but I'm not terrified for this Rangers team, and I think we can go toe to toe with them. We've completely lost that fear factor. Do you know 100%. What I mean? It's gone are the days that Rangers Football Club strikes fear into the opposition. I mean, I've got an eye on this upcoming Old Firm at the start of September, and if I was on the other side of the city, I would be thinking this could possibly be one of the easier ones in recent times. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Because we have got nothing to us. We're fucking feeble, to be honest. We're disjointed. You say we see, slight glimpses, loosely you said, of an identity, but even I'm struggling to see that at times. I know what you mean in terms of
we're starting to see a bit of a press come in and but at the same time, we can be organised and press well all we want. At the end of the day, this Rangers team are struggling to put the ball in the net.
Aye, exactly. And you'll never win anything if you can't score goals.
100%. We're not lethal in the slightest up top.
Too many folk. I think there was Lawrence, Dessers, even McCausland had a shot on target, but a very feeble attempt. But Dessers, I'm literally talking, just outside the 6-yard box, maybe 8, 9, run about the penalty spot, maybe. And the ball's running across the face of the goal, and these guys want to take a touch instead of just having a shot.
Aye.
So decision making like that,
that instinct's just no there in this team. That instinct is
there's no killer instinct.
There's no killer instinct in this team,
and that goes for an attacking point of view and a defensive point of view. There's no high football and IQ. There's no savviness. It's still taking us 5 minutes to take a throw in, and no cunts moving round about when we've got the. Do you know what? Just stuff like that really is
the wee
quite
daft
frustrating.
Things that just add up.
So it's worrying, and obviously it's also the first major failure of the season. Kind of 2 weeks into the new season and the quote unquote rebuild that we're supposed to be in the middle of right here. We don't have a stadium. We've got a very weak bench. We've got a large fraction of the fan base now who will be asking questions about Clement and his decision making in terms of his starting 11. I mean, that's for sure. Again, whenever we were desperate for we needed 2 goals come the end of the game there, and still we never seen Danilo even out for a warm up. I don't think.
No minutes again.
So it's
Strange.
just weird all round right
Aye,
now.
very
And
strange.
we thought last season was a struggle and last season was difficult. But I must say, troops, I do believe we're in for it again. I hope we're wrong, and I hope this just is us. We're no at Champions League level. One decision, one horrific decision changed the course of tonight's match. But what we've seen for Rangers through the pre-season and even into the first 2 games of the league campaign,
Quality needed big time.
aye,
Big time.
and that's the thing. I mean, I'm still seeing people on X go like, right, we know our fate for the Champions League, we know our fate in terms of finances, now's the time to get players in the door. But I'm not even hearing rumours.
No.
I'm not honestly not even expecting. Actually, as the days go by and the transfer window looms ever so closer to closing, I'm just getting more and more worried.
Definitely.
We've got players that we can't offload. We've got players playing in the B team who would
We've got
probably
players that
be as
are
well
just
on the bench
AWOL.
for us. We've got AWOL players. We've got Cifuentes, who's just left, that I completely forgot was even a fucking Rangers player.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? It's pretty brutal, to be honest.
It is. But let us know what you think in the comments section. Let us know what you think about our opinions on the game, on the decisions made during the game. Remember, the BlueSea channel memberships are available. It's a great way to help us invest a wee bit more back in the content, make the videos better for you. There's a wee join button up there if you're on your computer, and if you're not, there's a link in the description as well. That's down next to our socials, and we'll see you next time.